I think it's time for some rule changes in the NFL.
You get a 4th and 15 play from your own 25. If you convert a first down, you keep possession.
So join us as we look around the sporting universe and handpick 10 awesome rules that would make the NFL infinitely better should they ever choose to adopt them. The CFL, more pre-snap motion. Adopting the CFL's pre-snap motion rules in the NFL would bring a new level of excitement and complexity to the game, making it way more appealing for fans. So for those of you who don't know, in the CFL, players are allowed to move towards the line of scrimmage before the snap, leading to dynamic and unpredictable offensive schemes. I mean, just think about Mike McDaniel or Sean McVay or heck, Kyle Shanahan's offense. Now just imagine that their star players like Tyreek Hill or Cooper Kupp or Christian McCaffrey were able to make a running start towards the line of scrimmage. The end result would be absolutely nuts and make those offenses damn near impossible to stop on a consistent basis. From a viewer's perspective, adding these rules would also create very interesting matchups and force defenses to reinvent the way that they approach the game. Yes, this would be another disadvantage thrown defenders' way. But hey, at least it would be an exciting one, rather than a lot of other changes that we've seen that have all taken entertainment value away from the game. Fans across the board, not just the aforementioned coaches and teams, should love this. Anyone who enjoys the tactical aspects of football would appreciate the increased complexity and the chess-like nature of the game, and watching the coaches and players try to make rapid adjustments mid-play would be absolutely enthralling. Plus, it would give fans just something a little extra to be watching for. CFL Bigger Field. Alright, so most NFL fans might not know this, but the NFL field is actually smaller than the CFL field by a considerable margin. Up north, they play an additional 10 yards of length to the NFL's 100 and 12.3 yards to the width of 53.3. The end zones are also bigger, as they stretch 20 yards deep instead of just 10. While you might not think that instituting this change would have a massive downstream impact on the game, there's actually a reason to believe that it would. And it might actually make the game better for both players and fans alike. For starters, players have gotten magnitudes bigger than they were when pro football started way back when. Adding the additional space would help to, well, space out the game better, and might help eliminate some of the injuries that is caused in crowded parts of the field. Plus, a larger field provides more space for players to just maneuver, showcasing their athleticism and allowing for any impressive plays to take place. Long passes, field stretching runs, intricate route combos, heck, you name it. Once again, the defense would draw the short end of the stick here, as the expanded field would probably challenge them to cover a bit more ground, which would be, well, kinda impractical in the red zone with the larger end zones. But in any case, this would likely result in higher scoring games and more dynamic offensive schemes. But it would also improve the product for the fans. XFL Fourth and 15 conversion to keep the ball instead of onside kick. While there have been many iterations of the XFL over the years with different rules and ideas, I think this most recent version has an interesting one. In the fourth quarter, teams have the option to attempt an additional 4th and 15 conversion rather than the traditional onside recovery. The NFL should strongly consider adopting this because it would open up new opportunities to highlight offensive talent, improve the game flow, and allow for more exciting comebacks to actually take place. We would see a whole new layer of strategy being added to the game on offense, as teams would be forced to really look deep into their system and innovate new plays specifically for this scenario. And of course, the mere possibility of a successful 4th and 15 conversion adds an element of hope and excitement for fans, particularly the ones supporting the team trying to mount that comeback. XFL Fumbles Out of the End Zone. Now, this one is a rule that I am damn near certain every NFL fan, at least every NFL fan with their wits about them, would be on board to change. Because the way that the NFL rulebook addresses fumbles out of the end zone is absolutely reviled by fans as it currently stands. The primary criticism of the current NFL rule is its harshness. A team can drive the length of the field only to lose possession due to a fumble out of bounds in the end zone, and boom, the ball is awarded to the defense. It feels wildly unfair and almost arbitrary, because if the fumble goes out of bounds just a couple of yards in front of the pylon versus after it, Well, the difference is astronomical. The XFL's rule ensures that offensive efforts are not overly penalized and instead allows them to just maintain possession. The NFL has to at least look at instituting this rule. It is crazy that they haven't already. Adding this sort of protection for the offensive player trying to make a play at the end zone would create even more exciting action at that end of the field. And of course, there is no doubt that the fans would absolutely love it. XFL Play Clock. Okay, can't believe I'm saying this, but it might be time that the NFL take a page out of Major League Baseball's playbook and look into a way of actually speeding things up. Now, obviously, the action that actually takes place on the gridiron is second to none. But if fans wanted to pose a gripe, it would be that it can take a little bit of time to actually get into the action. This becomes incredibly evident to anyone who actually goes to the stadiums on Sunday rather than just watching it from the comfort of their own couch. As, oh boy, the gaps between plays quickly becomes painfully present. The XFL has the right idea by instituting a 35-second play clock rather than the traditional 40-second one that the NFL uses. This forces teams to operate a little bit quicker and helps to keep the action moving from one play to the next. It would also make it harder for teams to park the proverbial bus at the end of the game and force them to properly put away the opposition rather than simply running out the clock. NCAAF college overtime. NFL diehards might think it's a little bit hacky, but man, how electric would it be to watch pros partake in the college football overtime when it came to break a tie? These rules ensure that teams have an equal chance to score and, no doubt, increases the excitement in a massive way. The intense back-and-forth nature of college overtime, similar to the penalty kick shootout in soccer or hockey, often results in the most memorable and iconic plays. And for overbettors, this can be an absolute godsend. College overtime is as exciting as it gets, and it is high time that the NFL just adopts its ruling. NCAAF. Clock stops after a first down. One of the biggest differences between the college and professional football games is that in the NCAA, when a team is driving in the fourth quarter, the clock stops after a first down. Not only does this add an element of suspense and excitement as it opens the door for a few more comebacks to be completed, but also it does pretty well to remove a lot of the human error that occurs with officials manning the clock and spotting the football. Too often, we see the game end literally with the ball in the referee's hands, or with the clock expiring before the team can get off one last snap because the ref can't get clear of the line of scrimmage quickly enough to allow the team to run a play. This would make the process easier on the officials, improve the action, and electrify fans everywhere as they watch their favorite teams launch or try to stave off a massive comeback. This is an absolute win-win-win. NBA, players can personalize their footwear. Okay, buckle up because we have now entered the cross-sport section of the program. And let us begin with the most obvious one. The NFL needs to follow the NBA's lead and just allow its players to wear custom footwear on game day. Obviously, it wouldn't change the way the game is played on the field, but it would go a long way in revolutionizing the way that the game in the league is just perceived. It isn't hard to see how the NFL would be a better place if it created more avenues for its players to express themselves and connect with the fans on a more personal level, both of which custom footwear enables. Besides, the NFL loves to fancy itself as a charitable organization, as do many of the players. So heck, why not create another medium for them to bring visibility to their favorite charities and raise money for good causes across the world? It has just never really made sense to me why the NFL can't abandon its no fun league ways. No one is asking the NFL to be a beacon of morality and professionalism. We just want to watch fun football, and too often the NFL ends up getting in the middle of that, rather than just supporting it. There's a lot of work to do on attacking that broader problem, but hey, custom footwear is a pretty good place to start. MLB, ejected coaches or players are expressly permitted to take a seat in the stands as long as they change into street clothes. Okay, so this might not be a commonly known one, but in Major League Baseball, there's actually an old rule that allows ejected coaches or players to sit in the stands, with the one stipulation that they just change into street clothes. Granted, we are recommending this rule just for pure entertainment value, but still, I think the NFL needs to consider it. I mean, come on, how electric would it have been if after Antonio Brown had his meltdown in his final game with the Bucs, that he just had the right to throw on a pair of jeans and a button-down and sit in the bleachers with the fans. Now, in Brown's case, keeping the street clothes on him may have actually been an issue, but golly, would that have been good television. Which, I mean, come on, let's be honest, that's what the NFL is. Or I guess at least should be about. NHL? Allow fighting. Okay, this last one might be a little bit controversial, but come on, let's face it, the NFL is a league of modern gladiators. The actions that are sanctioned by the league are far more violent than a few friendly blows amongst competitors in the heat of battle. Think about how big of a headache it is for the league office to sort out the aftermath of an on-field brawl. Why not just, I don't know, regulate it like the NHL does? Let these athletes who play one of the most physical sports out there chuck a couple of knucks if things get too heated on the field. It would enhance divisional rivalries and improve the storylines around the game. Plus, when the fights actually do happen, they wouldn't spiral out of control in the same way that they do right now. The NFL should really loosen the reins and just let the players settle their in-game beefs on the field like men. But hey, what rule change do you think the NFL most needs to implement? Which ones do you think they shouldn't even consider? And which ones do you think would have the most dramatic impact? Let us know in the comments section below. Yeah, if you like this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton. And hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next time.